Video test number 4, trying to work on a tree sideways so the camera can see what I'm doing when I don't have a cameraman handy. This is a Catlin elm. Started as a cutting several seasons ago. Recently moved into a new greenhouse, so not really sure of all the quirks for this greenhouse. I like to grow in shallow bulb pans so that I can get a good root flare. But in this greenhouse, with limited access to outdoor growing space, I was panicked about being able to keep the tree watered, so I kept it in the bulb pan, but put it inside a sand tray so you can see the roots managed to work their way out of the bulb pan and into the sand tray. As you can see, the tree is very vigorous at its apex. Bottom branches are not thick enough for what I'm looking for, and the trunk is a rather on the thin side. So what we're going to do is eliminate the top, trim back the middle and top branches, wire out the bottom branches, and let them extend to fatten up the lower trunk. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the tree out of the pot, inspect the roots. Roots did pretty good. Got some nice new healthy growth. Plant's starting to break dormancy. So I'm right about the perfect time to do this work. The only problem is this weekend they're forecasting 15 degrees. So I can't wait to see how my new greenhouse handles the lower temperatures. So first thing I'm going to do is eliminate the super vigorous growth at the top, because this plant is apical dominant and that's where it likes to put all its effort. So we're going to eliminate all that vigorous growth at the top. I'm a proponent of finding the line of your tree. So the line of the tree is in here somewhere. I think this is probably the line. So I'm going to come up here and make a decision. I think I'm going to go with this. Get rid of this big clunky stuff at the top. So now I'm going to have to wire up a new apex. Bottom branches I need to get thicker and longer, so I'll wire those out. Wiring in the springtime presents some challenges because you have to stay on top of the plant. Otherwise you're going to wind up with some wire scars. Sometimes you can take advantage of that and use the wire scars to fatten the trunk. Sometimes the wire scars will help the tree hold its shape, but generally speaking, on something this tiny, I'm going to do my best to avoid wire scarring the tree. Alright, so we'll keep this branch. I'm going to bring this part of the tree up. So probably need something like 2.5 millimeter wire to do that. It's kind of thick, kind of woody. It's going to give me some grief as I try and bend it, but we'll see how it goes. So when I'm applying the wire, I like to get one turn at least around the tree, come up on the area that I'm looking to bend, being careful not to trap foliage or damage any dormant buds that I want to keep. Hey, look at that. It's holding. Alright, so now I need to wire these branches out and away from the trunk. Same diameter wire will work. This is 2mm anodized aluminum. I'm going to use the branch to branch method, so I'm going to account for the length of the branch plus some thickness. I'm going to go around the trunk one turn and then out. Try and support your last turn of the wire with your thumb and forefinger. Again, working my way along the branch, doing my best to avoid trapping twigs, leaves, and destroying buds. Alright, so now I'll finish out this branch. Almost use my branch cutter to cut a wire. Now, knowing that that's going to be the front, bring that branch out, down, bring this branch out, down. I'm going to need a secondary wire to control that. Not sure what I want to do with this one. He's not part of this branch proper, not really doing anything, but he might help thicken that area. Not that I need that area to get much thicker, so we'll eliminate that. This branch is going to have to come down into the back. So try and get one turn around the trunk. Work your way out on the branch. Take the wire as far as you can on the thickest part of the branch. All the while being careful not to trap leaves, destroy buds, and break any twigs. Right. Secondary wire, we'll go down to 1mm. Hopefully this will be strong enough. If not, I'll have to break out the 1.5. This was always fun to do in my instructor's greenhouse. We used to spend the winter wiring his pines and his maples. Be 30 degrees outside, 35 degrees in the greenhouse. He'd hand you a tree and a cup of hot cocoa and turn on a kerosene heater 50 feet away from you. We learned to wire quickly. Okay, so secondary branch, I want to wire this. Ideally, I want to get a full turn around the trunk before I go out to that. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. So I'll wire from here to here. I'm going to have to really stay on top of this. Over the spring. At some point it's going to take off, and then I'm going to have to watch for wire scarring. By removing the apical bud, hopefully I have stimulated the tree to put out some nice new lower buds. So I'll have to keep an eye on this. This is really weird, having to worry about my hands blocking the view of the camera. But you live, you learn, you make some mistakes. Now I want this bottom branch to get thicker. I want that bottom branch to either become thicker and stay as part of the tree or function as a sacrifice branch. The back branch I'm reasonably happy with. The middle and upper branches, we're gonna let them go unattended to right now. Probably nip them back a couple times over the summer if my brain engages and I remember to stay on top of the pruning. Alright, now it's a good time of year to hit the roots. So roots are running around in circles, so I like to make a couple cuts in between good roots that I'm keeping for design. Elms are fun because not only do they root fairly easy from a cutting, but they also have the ability to generate a whole new tree from a piece of root. So if I have any that I think are long enough or interesting enough, I will put them in a container with some soil and let them do their thing for a year. See this one here? I get a whole new tree out of that. The funky thing with root cuttings is you never quite know where the bud is going to pop. So your design options become interesting. Alright, so I think I can get rid of that. Try and get a new tree out of it. Alright, so now get rid of our soil. We need to put it in a container. I'm probably going to go right back in the bulb pan with my favorite mix This is one that is very moisture retentive. Being in my greenhouse and not being able to be here every minute of the day to check on the watering, I want a mix that's going to hold a fair amount of moisture. And even this kind of mix in this shallow container is going to dry out very rapidly. So I will need to put this back in a sand tray so that I don't come home to a piece of kindling ready for the fireplace. Be a very small fire. Alright, now, product that I like to use, not everyone does, is a product called Super Thrive. Super Thrive is a vitamin hormone complex that stimulates root growth. Some people complain because they think it's really just rooting hormone in water, but it's got vitamin B and some other elements that Dr. Thompson didn't reveal to anybody. Still available. You can even get it at Walmart now. Not that I'm advocating you go shopping at Walmart. Used to be we were the only place that you could find it, but it's become much more popular. Alrighty. So I'm going to give you a bird's eye view of the tree. Still not sure about that lower left branch. This may end up being the branch that I use, but time will tell. The trees have a way of making decisions for you, and sometimes they make better decisions than you do. Alrighty. End of test number 4 or 5, I've lost track.